Well, it's been a good start to this ultimate session of 2025. The consumer stocks actually doing well. We have HUL, which has moved higher, Asian Paints is higher, and none higher than Titan, which has actually moved to the highest point of trade after, it's announced. In this month itself, the stock's done well. It's closer to its record high than ever before. It's over 4,000 rupees. It's announced its foray into lab-grown diamond after a very long time. Here on CNBC TV18, we've been asking the management for many years, and they've said that they're looking at this market very closely, but they didn't make any plans public until December 29th, where they launched their first store, Beyond, in Mumbai. Managing Director Ajay Chawla told CNBC TV18 exclusively that he expects to close this financial year with a few more Beyond stores. And how will this impact other players in the industry? How will this impact the industry itself? We're joined by Eashwar Iyer, who's the CFO at International Gemological Institute. Basically, this is a company that certifies lab-grown diamonds, the leader out there. And Prajay Maganlal, who's the CEO at Eleve Lab Diamonds as well. Prajay, let's ask you, up until now, lab-grown diamonds were looked at as a child which wasn't loved as much by the parents, but loved a lot by their friends. So consumers loved lab-grown diamonds, but the large players were still looking at it with some sort of skepticism or something that may eat into their own overall business as well. Now with Titan actually finally shaking its hands with that child and saying that we're part of this, we're in this together. They've opened this, and the largest player, the most trustworthy player enters this space. Do you think it gives it a little more legitimacy than what it earlier had? And what does this do to the industry according to you?
Well, Titan entering the industry, right, provides institutional validity. It tells us that the market has now reached the stage of maturity where big players are getting involved. And Titan has actually been giving signs that they're looking at this industry pretty closely over the last 1 year. Malabar is doing the same. Number of other big players are doing the same. So I see this moving forward as a market of segmentation and choice, not really of disruption. There's absolutely going to be space for both natural and lab grown, and Titan getting into it just proves that.
All right. And what does that mean for your volumes? Eashwar, I have to ask you that in terms of tests. Will you be participating in testing some of these LGDs for Titan, or will they buy LGDs from people who you've tested for already? What does that do to a business like yours?
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me on the show. So of course, we've been talking about this over the last 3-4 quarters in our this call, etc. I think we continue to maintain that IGI will be certifying diamonds. So we are a neutral body. We are a third-party independent grading as a body. So and we've also mentioned this in the past that the lab-grown segment is the new entrant for the industry. And the lab-grown jewelry segment is starting to see some serious growth in India. I think in line with those industry trends, I think there are a lot of larger players now coming into the field. As we've spoken in the past, I think the lab-grown segment was first adopted by the US consumers. And as the Indian consumers also come into the fray, I think we just at the start of a very, very big cycle as far as lab-grown jewelry demand is concerned, as far as the Indian market is concerned. So obviously, IGI is well positioned today to manage this diverse portfolio of grading services that we provide.
Right. So, just to go back to what we were speaking with Prajay. Prajay, what is the total sales of LGDs in India right now as per you? And with Titan entering it, the mature market, do you think it can accelerate the demand? And what does that do to prices of natural diamonds?
Sure. So just a few numbers, right? Today, diamond jewelry makes up about 10% of the Indian jewelry market. LGDs within that space, till just a few years back, were about just 1% of that market. Today, LGDs have moved to about 3%. So they're roughly around $300 to $400 million is the lab-grown diamond jewelry industry here. With Titan entering the market and with other larger players entering the market, we are going to see about a 25% CAGR over the next 10 years, easily moving to, say, about 3 to 10 billion in lab-grown diamonds itself, because we see lab-grown diamonds moving to about 10% of the market in about 10 years. If you just take the trends from the US, right, in 2018, just 2% of engagement rings had lab-grown diamonds, whereas today it's well over 50%. And the US market is structurally different, where they have a hero product in engagement rings. About 50% of the US jewelry market is just made up of engagement rings. And when you say there's a larger chunk of lab-grown diamonds taking place, that's a huge cultural shift. We see India getting trends about 2-3 years later, and the Indian lab-grown market is already booming. We're seeing it in terms of customer choice. We're seeing it in terms of design philosophy, and with big players entering the market, that just proves that lab-grown is just here to grow now.
But do you think that lab-grown in India will be different in consumer behavior than what it is in the US? Because jewelry purchase in India itself is different versus what we've seen in the US, etc. We buy more for value reasons than adornment.
Absolutely. If you look at the two reasons why natural diamonds were so popular, at least in the past, one is it was a social and financial flex. If you wore a 2-3 carat natural diamond, that proved that you were someone in society. It also was a pretty good hedge against inflation, which consistently outpaced or even beat inflation in many years. Both those things don't hold today. With the larger share of Gen Z moving into the market, with their philosophies changing, towards more responsibly sourced, sustainably and ethically sourced diamonds, they also want to adorn themselves with a far wider range of diamonds and gemstones. We're not just talking about lab-grown diamonds here. We get lab-grown gemstones, colored gemstones. India has such a rich history of colored gemstones, but today it's just 2% of the jewelry market. Whereas in America, that's actually moved to 10 to 15%. We are seeing a kind of explosion in terms of design philosophies, in terms of product outcomes that just weren't possible with natural diamonds because of the high cost. So it's completely turning the market on its head. And I just see it growing from here because of all these changes.
Have the prices of natural solitaires moved over the last year or two?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
How have the prices of natural solitaires moved over the last year or two?
Oh, natural solitaire prices have plummeted about 30-40%. I think Eashwar may be able to correct, but I think it's about at that number.
All right. Eashwar, I'll ask you a little about natural as well. And this could, I don't know how this impacts you, because Titans, apart from announcing this lab-grown foray, they've also gone all out in natural diamonds, saying that, the new Tanishq stores have a natural diamond purity meter, quite similar to what they had done with the carat meter when they had first launched. That was an industry disruption. And now everyone's looking at the carat meter as a necessity before they go ahead and buy gold. So do you think this could be something like that? And if Titan were to do it, why would anyone come to IGI?
I think there's an important aspect that we all need to consider in terms of an independent certifier. I think IGI plays that role because there's obviously a need for a segregation of duty, or, as you say, avoid of conflict in terms of the certification of diamond goes. So as an independent body, I think the need for an independent body to continue to grade diamonds is an important aspect of the entire industry, the way it functions today, in terms of providing that sort of sanctity to the final consumer who's buying this product. So from that context, I think the need for an independent certification will continue to exist well into the future. But having said, just to add to some of the points that was mentioned earlier, I think there's also an aspect of prices of gold and silver, which have really moved up over the last 6-8 months. Lab-grown, with their pricing at the moment, provides that a balance from a budgetary standpoint for consumers to therefore participate on a larger scale as far as purchasing lab-grown jewelry is concerned. I think there are a lot of dynamics that is currently at play in this industry in terms of the way prices of gold, silver have moved, etc. And therefore, the lab-grown segment therefore has the potential to really leapfrog over natural diamonds in the future.
All right. We'll take that and also see how that impacts your overall business, because realization is lower in lab-grown for your testing, while the volumes are a lot higher. Will that offset each other for your business to sustainably grow, basis your guidance? Something that the street will keep watching out for going forward. Prajay, last word. With Titan entering, how does that change the supply side dynamics? Yes, demand, we understand, can grow about 20-25%. Earlier in the past, there were reports of oversupply in the lab-grown business. Do you think with a larger player entering here, that gets mitigated a little bit?
I think there is a tremendous supply, and especially with the high tariffs being put up by the US, that actually reduced prices quite a bit in the last, say, 2, 3 months, because a lot of the supply that was going to the US today is now being flooded in India. So I absolutely don't see Titan entering the market, putting upward pressure on prices. There's plenty of supply to go around.
Okay, all right. Mangalam, so you're buying a diamond or no?
Natural lab grown, anything.
Lab grown.
I'm sure people at home wouldn't mind.
See, it's of no use to me, to be very honest.
I'll tell you what, tomorrow is the first, right? So come in with some bling.
Yeah.
Come with the bling.
Buy with one of those chains with some.
Look like a rap singer, maybe, I guess.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Good speaking with both of you. Very interesting and fascinating discussion. Wishing you the best for 26. Appreciate it.
Yeah, best wishes for the
Sparkling
team.
2026.
Thanks for having us on, guys.